What's up, humans? This is Tommy at InCamera, and today we're going to demonstrate how the master pyrotechnicians of the past created explosions in space, from Brian Johnson's Space 1999 to Viscosil and the Death Star. Today is Zero G Pyro Day. So the principle of shooting an explosion to look like it's happening in zero gravity is actually very simple. Rather than shooting on a plane and watching that explosion move up with the heat, we actually shoot underneath the explosion by placing the camera inside a protective box and rigging a suspended downward directional charge in the ceiling, so any sparks or debris fall towards the camera. And as we're shooting the explosions as elements to be comped into a shot, presumably in space, we're going to need to black out the ceiling above the charge. I roll out the drape and cut 2 equal lengths and then prep for rigging. Once I've attached the first piece, I then run a cable alongside it. This will hold our charge. Those creases shouldn't really show, I don't think. So before we can start shooting, we need to make a protection box for our camera. Obviously we're shooting straight up, and so whatever falls towards camera, we need to make sure that the lens and the camera, of course, is protected. So JP's got hold of these, which is these kind of 10mm thick pieces of glass. They're actually coasters. There is a bit of a green kind of hue to them, so there might be some correction involved, but the alternative would be to get some Lexan, like bulletproof glass or something like that. And if you're looking for something like that, this kind of thickness, you're talking hundreds. And so we're going for the budget option in camera style. So what I need to do is I'm going to cut this board here in half, and then I'm going to cut a piece exactly the size of that, and then a smaller piece, and then it will just sit in those two parts. It doesn't need to be super strong because we're not dealing with serious debris. It's really just to protect the glass, mainly from any little burning elements that might fall to camera. So you'll notice I'm not using a workmate or some sort of proper workbench because we don't have one. So I've sort of come up with this little thing, which is essentially these pallet trucks, which I've stuck a sandbag on either end. But what it does give is a nice hole there so I can just cut through. You work with what you've got, right? Go. So that will basically sit there, and then the piece underneath this, I'll just cut about 5mm on the inside there, and that will just hold it in place. So the only thing we need to do next, measure the height of our camera and then put some legs on this. Nothing like cutting on a moving table. Keeps things exciting. Don't do this at home, kids. Find an adult. Right. You might be there, you know. Yeah. Boom.
Beautiful. Nice work.
Hey, you know, it's not pretty, but it works. So we've got this pulley that we used in our Intro to Pyro episode. I'm now going to throw that around the cable that we've strung across the seam of the 2 pieces of blackout that we've put up there. So this way it will literally just hang between the seam, and then from there we hang our drop unit and charge. Yeah.
I've got a bracelet made of this paracord.
Really?
And it's tightly woven into a bracelet, and it's got a whistle on the clasp.
Okay.
And if you take it hiking, You can have an emergency whistle and unpick it and make like survival shit with it.
Survival shit. You know survival shit.
It's good.
Is it like, this is just insanely strong stuff?
Yeah, yeah. No, the idea
Hold
is
your weight kind of
you've got
thing.
like 100 meters of this, should you need it in an emergency.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want some of this. I like just having things that could save your life. All right. That's it. So, center or?
Towards you a smidge.
Yeah.
So we've rigged our platform from the pulley, and what this platform allows us to do is suspend our pyro charges up in the air. The platform can contain our pyro receiver box, so we can keep everything nice and self-contained and suspended up in the roof, so that when we're shooting from beneath straight up, there's nothing in the background, any trailing wires that will be illuminated when the charges go off. So it's just a good way of keeping everything compact and all together. So this will be our first silver star effect that will shower down some silver, very bright sparks towards camera. And at 200 frames per second, it should look quite epic.
I think this has an SDI out, or maybe you need to spend another few £1,000 on an add-on.
It's worth keeping an eye on how clean this is, because if it gets illuminated in the dark, you don't want a weird smudge to show up in the flash.
Okay, so we've got our suspended charge centered of frame. We're shooting in the Helium's 3K 239 setting, so very kind of slim widescreen in order to get the most frame rate speed out of it whilst maintaining a decent resolution. We've got our charge centered. Although the blackout doesn't stretch the entire width of the image, it should still be usable, because when we go to shoot, we're going to drop all the lights, and essentially that blackout is just giving us a dark background behind that first charge. So that's what's really going to light everything up. And then once that first charge has died, we'll get lots of sparkles falling towards camera, but we should be able to use the whole frame, because by the time that initial charge has died down, the whole background will just be dark, because we'll be shooting in the dark. So we'll still get all of those sparkles and hopefully be able to use the entire frame. All right, I think we're set. Do you want to take out the lights?
Yep.
Okay, so we're at 200 frames, ISO 640, f11, 1/400th, daylight. Ready to roll?
Ready?
Camera's at speed.
Okay. Firing bright silver stars in 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Yeah. And that's why we make a nice protective box. Our lens is thanking us already. We are literally going to have to clean this every time, aren't we?
It's better than plastic because that scratches.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The more you clean it.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Nothing's broken. I call that a successful test. We had a few little sparkles there, but not loads. But yeah, like you say, that difference between, we did a test at 120 frames, and just the difference there, jumping up to 200, really does change the scale.
Yeah.
Real nice. So we're just going to tape up around the top side of it as well, because actually these bits get in all over the place. Because even though that was obviously all there and you got a little lip there was still a couple of little ashes on the lens. I mean, I think by the time they'd got in there, they were not going to be hot or dangerous or too hot to do any damage to the coating or anything, but better to just seal it up and keep it clean.
That one was the commercially available product. So
Oh,
that was
okay.
a theatrical stage kind of pyro charge.
Ah, okay. And now we've got one of your own particular concoction?
Yeah, so it enables us to change the aesthetic a bit more, if you like. So rather than have a single colour to sparks, we can introduce different coloured sparks and also a bit more flame and smoke to add to the effect. It's useful to know how to control those things, because if you're after a certain scale of effect, you can dial up or dial down certain mixtures of material to give different results. So this would be the best test of your crash box.
Okay.
It's going to fire that past it, half of the ball. Straight down, baby.
I feel fine about it. I'm ready. I stand by my work. I believe this will go off without a hit.
Kind of like firing a paintball at it.
Oh, God.
But it will probably hit the wood.
Yeah.
Probably hit the wood.
I mean, yeah, there's no way. Nothing's getting through there. Nothing. I absolutely stand by what I've done here. And I'm not fussed. I'm not bothered. I'm not worried. No problem. So we're just plugging in a much longer SDI cable for our monitor, because that first charge was a, theatrical, commercially available, pre-made little number, and now we're moving on to JP's own cocktails. So he's now instructed us that we have to move everything back. So this is going to be exciting. Let's see what he's got in store for us.
We are firing in 3, 2, 1.
While JP's first cocktail was certainly more flamey, it wasn't as big as we'd hoped. So we go again.
3, 2, 1.
We continue to run through takes, varying the concoction each time.
Going bigger.
Oh yeah, that is significantly larger. That's got me excited. We all set? Yep. Okay, lights out. JP's concerned that the container the charge is in is breaking open too quickly and not allowing enough time for all of those powders to ignite. So he adds a stronger sealant to the casing to help encourage a bigger explosion before the powders can dissipate.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that was pretty.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that was nice. Though our explosions are getting bigger, they still don't feel big enough. So JP opens up one last off-the-shelf bright spark and adds more of his own powders to it. Here we go. Whoa! That's more like it. Here it is graded and cleaned up a little. Twinkly. And then here it is comped with one of those nice 120 frame shots from Ryan's Canon to give it a bit more of a Death Star explosion look. Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million. My God. Nailed it with that last charge. JP's little cocktail, absolutely. That was worth waiting for. Look out for our next adventure in Zero G as we play with Blackmagic's new 12K camera, giving us 240 frames a second at 4K. And we have some fun adding lighting to the explosion path so we can capture more floating debris and say goodbye to our little friend. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next one's coming out. Till next time, see you soon.